right, guys, let's go. Welcome back to another episode of the Redzone Report Week 7 edition. And if you're watching our video, you'll first think, holy dooly, your setup is looking way different. What the hell is going on, Squishy? I am in Bali. I am on holidays at the moment for the week, but the grind doesn't stop. But I love to produce content for you guys. I can't be missing a week of the Redzone Report, and I do love this week as well. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. It'll just be for 1 week only. We'll be back to our normal setup as of next week. I am using my AirPods as a microphone, so it may sound a bit different. My lighting's different. Everything's different, but the show must go on. All right, before we get into it, the comments and the viewership I had last week for week 6 of the Redzone Report was absolutely amazing. My most viewed episode of the season so far. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in and listening. It's my favorite episode of the whole week to do. I love handicapping the NFL every single week. I love the research that goes into it. And just putting it to you guys and for you guys to listen and tune in and potentially tail is just even better. So last week, we went 2-3 on our best bets and went 3-2 on our props. So a 5-5 week. So pretty much broke even, just lost a little bit on the juice there. But of course, this week, I've got 5 more games to 5 best bets, which pretty much pre-bet before I went on holidays because I absolutely love the bets as well. And then I'll have 4 or 5 player props, I believe, as well for you guys. The lines have just come out today. So I've done a little bit of research for you and dug deep into them for you. So, of course, we've got, as I said, 5 best bets, a player prop to go through, our rapid rundown covering the other 10 games that are on the board. I believe the Bills and forget who else is on the bye this week. Ravens, excuse me. Giving you my SuperCoach update. Had a pretty another solid week as well. So I have a look who to trade, who not to trade, that sort of thing. We'll go through Survivor. Even though I'm a dead man in Survivor after taking the Bills a couple weeks ago, I will still help you to win your Survivor leagues. And of course, we'll finish it off with my multi for the week and my 2+ touchdown 3-leg Hail Mary. We still haven't hit one, but once we do, I may be coming back to Bali very, very soon. All right, let's get into it. Nothing for the Thursday night game, Thursday night football game, Friday morning here, but we are going to start over the pond, quite a ways, in London town, innit? In a bit of London town, have a bit of cup of tea while I watch this game. And that is the LA Rams and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Finally, we've got a marquee matchup in London. I do feel sorry for these UK guys who have had to cop these awful matchups in these awful matches. Has not been kind to them whatsoever. This is Sunday night, 11:30 p.m., 9:30 in Bali for me. Rams are a minus 3-point favorite in this one, a total of 44.5. This one opened minus Rams 3.5 with a total of 47.5. So we have seen a bit of Jags money, which I do agree with a bit. We have seen a lot of under money as well, and that is exactly where I'm going. I'm going to chase this steam with this one. I did get a bit of a better number at the start of the week. I won't lie to you guys. I am on under 46, but I do love the under 44.5 in this one here. So big one for the Rams in this one is Puka Nacua. Most likely will not be playing this week. I'm not sure if he's even traveled over. He will not be playing in this game here. So that is a huge loss. Devontae Adams goes straight to that first wide receiver. I don't like how Kyron Williams has been running the ball. I think this Rams offense without Puka will be a little bit stagnant. This Jags defense is not too bad. They can stop the pass. They're not too bad at stopping the run. So if they can Rams somehow get Kyron going, that does soak up a bit more clock on the ground for the Rams and obviously just overall. Jags-wise, their offense last week really did struggle against Seattle. Mind you, Seattle's defense was on point last week. I do like this Rams defense as well. Don't get me wrong, this Ravens offense is hardly anything at the moment, but they just kept the Ravens to, 3 points last week. They got 4 stops from Derrick Henry from the 1-yard line. But this Rams defense does mean business. 2 teams that play each other, sort of maybe once every sort of couple years. Heading over to the lake, Jags do generally play there every year. I do think they have a bit of an advantage in this one. I do like this game to go under, though, under the 44.5. If you get 45, obviously, that is a way better bet. But that is bet one for the Redzone Report and the unders in Rams and Jaguars. Alrighty, bet number 2. And this one is one I circled even as early as last week when the lines came out. And you might be thinking it's a bit square, but square, I don't care. As New England Patriots at the Tennessee Titans, 3 a.m. Monday morning for Aussies on the East Coast, well, in Queensland, 4 a.m. and down south. Pats are a 7-point favourite, total of 42.5 in this one here. And seeing a tiny bit of movement just in regards to the line. Open 6.5 this one for the Pats, total of 42.5. It has held. I've been on the Pats -7 or -6.5 for a good amount of about pretty much as soon as the Pats finish their Saints game. It's square. I get it. I don't really care. Obviously, since then, Brian Callahan, the Titans head coach, has been given the sack since then. It's generally a spot I would like to play a team that has that coach just getting sacked. Why that is because generally when a coach gets sacked, before then, the vibes aren't great, that he's probably lost the locker room a little bit. As soon as the coach gets sacked, and I believe it's the assistant offensive coordinator, the senior offensive coordinator for the Titans coming into coach for the interim, it's almost like a fresh start for everyone. It's like your position is back in the line for first wide receiver, all the sort of things. And you generally get a better and more amped up, intense performance from your players. However, in this circumstance, you've got a senior offensive interim coordinator for Titans stepping in. The offense has, I think, sucked a lot of the year. Cam Ward's slightly getting better, but he did not look good against the Raiders last week. And the big one for me is this one is I think it could be for Pats players a flat spot, but for Mike Vrabel, the old coach, ex-coach of the Tennessee Titans, the guys who sacked him and kept him out of a job in the league for a couple of years, I think Mike Vrabel would have had this game circled since the start of the season, this one. Going back to his old stomping ground at Nissan Stadium, I think he'll absolutely want to hammer his old team. This Drake mate is absolutely firing at all cylinders at the moment. Easily the best quarterback we've seen at the Patriots since Tom Brady. And he is just a rookie as well. He is looking absolutely dynamite 6 weeks into the season. Probably one of the best deep balls so far in the league, I think, at the moment as well. But my main thing is definitely the coaching in this one. There is a massive coaching discrepancy in this matchup here, which goes a lot to my handicapping. And part of that is, I said, Mike Vrabel heading back to Tennessee. I think he'll want to put a foot down on this Tennessee team. This Tennessee team still isn't that great. They had their first win 2 weeks ago in Arizona. They looked awful against a pretty bad Raiders team as well. So Titans heading back home, but I do like the Patriots minus the points on the road in this one. Square, I don't care. Lay the points with the Patriots here. All right. Next game here, 3 games to go. We're going into our second slate on the Monday, and that is the New York Giants traveling to the Denver Broncos. And I'm going the opposite of square in this one. I'm not laying the 7. I am taking the points with the Giants in this one here. They are a 7-point dog. There is a total of 40.5 of this one. This one did open Giants at +7 as well. I think we've just seen a couple cents movement in this one, maybe from like $1.86 to $1.90, something like that. And open a total of 41.5. So a tiny bit of under money, but I do like the plus points with the Giants in this one here. Giants off probably their best win by far of the season last week against especially a division rival against Philly. Had the mini bye as well, playing Thursday Night Football. Again, this may be a spot where they're kind of a bit fat and sassy, but I don't think so. I think like this team is still, they're still 2-4. Like Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo in the back are getting better and better every single week. It looks like the vibes are really sort of starting to shift in the Big Apple there. And Denver, they're coming off a big trip from London. They're coming back now to home, so it's a big trip back over the pond. Denver, last week, man, they just looked awful out there, especially against a team like the Jets. They that was a disgusting, disgusting game to watch. If you did perhaps watch it at all, the final score, I think it was what 13-11 or something. Like scored one touchdown in that one, two field goals. Look, damn ugly out there. They're probably lucky that they're playing a team like the Jets. Otherwise, I think other days against other teams, the 30 other teams, they're probably losing that game. Bo Nix, I don't think Bo Nix has looked all that great this year. A bit of second year syndrome, maybe. He looked great last year as a rookie. I don't think he's taken off anywhere near as good as he was last year. I get it. Giants have a good defense, but Denver has a good defense, but this Giants offense is starting to cook a little bit. I get it. Neighbors is still a huge loss, but the still got receivers are throwing the ball to, it seems like Lil Jordan Humphrey and Wandale Robinson. You're still at like Theo Johnson's being a good tight end, but the main two has been the back two, and it's Dart being able to run the ball, especially in his completions, and then Cam Scatterbo running like an absolute maniac. And this Giants pass rush, I think they can stand up to this Denver O-line as well, and I think they can definitely keep them to a pretty low-scoring game. The under looks pretty appealing as well, I'm not going to lie, but it's more definitely a fade against Denver. Coming back from the UK, offense is really, really struggling, and I don't think it's all of a sudden going to click against the Giants defense like this. The only time I've really seen Denver sort of click on offense was against the Cincy defense, which is generally one of the worst in the league. So this seems like a lot of points to be laying with Denver. So I'm happy to 100% take the points with the other side in this one. Give me the big blue Giants plus the 7 in this one here. And the last two bets, these are probably my favorite two bets of the week by far. My last one is actually my favorite bet of the season, I think. But we're going to be going to Sunday Night Football, and that is the Atlanta Falcons traveling west to the San Francisco banged up 49ers. So Sunday Night Football, 49ers, 2-point favorite in this one, total of 47. Open a 3-point favorite with a total of 45 and a half, sorry. And the big one in this game is essentially Fred Warner is out for the season. He needs surgery. This San Fran defense, without Nick Bosa, without Fred Warner, arguably both in top 10 defensive players in the league, the heart and soul of their defense are now gone. This secondary and this pass rush is going to be pretty non-existent for San Fran in this one. And you're going to have Brock Purdy back by the looks of it. Did practice today, I believe, which is a good sign. You've got Juwan Jennings back, even though he's still a bit banged up. You may have Ricky Pearsall coming back, and you may have George Kittle even coming back as well. So you've almost pretty much got the San Fran full offense back in swing in this one here. Regarding the Falcons, damn, they looked awesome last week, didn't they? Against Buffalo at home in primetime. Bijan Robinson was absolutely cooking on the ground. They ran through the Buffalo run defense. They ran it down their throat. This Falcons offense seems to be kind of cooking a little bit. Drake London, he's looking really good as well. This Falcons defense is generally pretty good, I'd say. But if you can get these San Fran receivers back and Brock Purdy back, this has nothing but a shootout on it, in my opinion. And the way I see it, if the 49ers, without Fred Warner, without Nick Bosa, are to contend in these games, they're going to have to put up some points. So for me, over 47 in this one, I do have over 45 ticket. I would still take over 47. If you can get over 46 and a half, that's a bit better. But I just see this going to the 50s. Like, I think if San Fran are to contend in games, they're going to have to put up 25 plus, because most weeks they're going to be conceding pretty close to 30 points, I think, for the rest of the season. This defense is seriously, seriously banged up. And I get it, Michael Penix isn't one of the best passing QBs in the NFL, but he still put London in for, 145 receiving yards or something last week. Bijan 170 or 200 on the ground last week. Just insane numbers. So the Falcons offense still is good. I think Falcons will be able to put up their fair share of points in this one, but I do think 49ers, if they are to contend, they do have to keep up. So I can see this getting close to the 60s almost. It's one of my favorite bets of the week in this one. Give me a shootout on primetime football Sunday night for this one here. Over 47. Over. Going way over. Atlanta at San Fran. All right. And the last bet. This is my favorite bet, I think, of the season. It was one as soon as sort of the results happened Monday morning here. I locked into it pretty much straight away. And you probably think, like, why did you lock into something like this? But you'll see why. That is the Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions. Buccaneers heading to Detroit in this one. This is a Tuesday morning for us. There's two games on like Monday Night Football that is taken apart from each other. This is the first one, 9 a.m. in Queensland. This one, 7 p.m. on the East Coast in America. Lions are a 5.5-point favorite. Total of 52.5. One of the biggest we've seen, apart from Dallas and the Commies this week. This one opened also minus 5.5 for a total of 53.5. So a tiny bit of under money, which is interesting. But I love Detroit in this spot. Absolutely love Detroit in this spot. Coming off a loss against Kansas City, who, like, they traveled to Arrowhead. They lost by double digits in this one. They got fired up at the end. Brian Branch slapping Juju Smith-Schuster, a bit of a scuffle. Dan Campbell was not proud of it whatsoever. First thing he said in his press conference was he apologized to the team. He said that was inexcusable. It was not good enough. I think he'll have these players ready to go this week to focus on football and not any of the other things. Get your job done and you'll be able to beat this Bucs team. Don't get me wrong. This Bucs team on offense is absolutely on fire at the moment. Baker Mayfield arguably should be one of the favorites for MVP at the moment. He is playing absolutely lights out. However, you've got Godwin's out. Evans is out. Egbuka is now injured as well. Who is he throwing to? What, Sterling Shepard and I think it's like Caleb Johnson or something like that? Like, what? He's going to be throwing to no one. Like, you know, you've got to have some sort of receivers to still be a relatively good quarterback, in my opinion. They generally don't have a strong running game at all with Rashad White. And I think Bucky Irving, he's still busted up. He may be back. But, like, you know, otherwise you got Sean Tucker there. I just think Detroit will be out for sort of a bit of revenge in this one. After that loss last week, they take a loss very well. I think under Dan Campbell, I've been on them this year in the season when they've been off a loss. There's something about like 10-1 against the spread off a loss, I believe. I took them off against the week 2. I took them against Chicago when they got smashed against the Packers. They came out and put 50 plus on Chicago in week 2. And back at their home stadium in prime time, they love to ramp up the score in these sort of games here. I can see them easily putting 30 plus on this Buccaneers defense. This Buccaneers defense still isn't that great. Yeah, they've got Vita Vea who can stop the run, but you've got like JMO, like you've got Williams, like Jameson Williams, you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, you've got Sam Laporta. This offense will be able to cook, I think, against a Tampa Bay defense like this one here. My favorite bet of the season so far, without a doubt, without hesitation, was happy to lay the points in this one here. I think that Detroit will be able to easily win by double digits in this one. Tampa Bay, I get it. What are they, 5-1 at the moment? They've had some good wins. Like last week was a good win, but like Fred Warner got injured during the game. They've had 3, game-winning drives by Baker. How many times can you keep doing this in a season, realistically? How many sort of game-winning drives can you keep having where they just beat the Texans game-winning drive? They just beat Atlanta. Atlanta had a game-winning field goal miss at the end. They just beat... They just lost to Philly, They got blown out in the first half in that one there. There was another one that they had as well, and they just won. And it's just like, how long can this keep up for? I get it. Baker's playing lights out, but I love the home side in this matchup here. Favorite bet of the season, Detroit and Dan Campbell to bounce back in this one. Lay the minus 5.5. Without a doubt, Detroit by double digits in this one here. Give me the lines. Raw! All right, that will do it for my 5 best bets for the week so far. All right, now we'll go into our rapid rundown where I cover the other 10 games that are on the board as quick as possible, just giving either my slight lean or if I have no opinion whatsoever. These, if they're a lean, they're generally not a big enough lean for me to put a bet on, but Always just good to give you my insights and sort of where I'm at. Anyway, all right, wrapper and down it. Let's go. Steelers at Cincinnati. Cincinnati minus 5.5-point dog at home, total of 44.5. I do lean Cincy in this one here. It does seem like not a get right spot, but first home game for Joe Flacco on this one. Do think they'll get up for it. Next one, my Carolina Panthers heading for 3 wins in a row, going to the New York Jets, the winless 0-6 Jets. Jets are a minus 1.5-point dog, total of 42.5. Hold your nose, but Jets, I do believe, get their first win of the season this week against my Panthers. Next one, Raiders heading to the AFC West Division rival Kansas City Chiefs, who are an 11.5-point favorite, total of 45.5. Does look like Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers will be out for this one here. I do lean KC in this one here. Just laid the points. Mahomes, he's sort of starting to cook. He's MVP favorite at the moment. I expect him to throw a few touchdowns in this one. It's a big number for a reason. Lay the points in this one here. All right, next one, Dolphins. This is a disgusting game. Dolphins heading to Cleveland. Cleveland are a minus 2.5-point favorite with total of 39.5 in this one here. I have zero opinion in this one here. Dylan Gabriel as a 2.5-point favorite is disgusting, but I can't just trust Miami at the moment, unfortunately. It looks like Tua, he's kind of losing the locker room a little bit. I don't like what he's been saying in his interviews. I've got no opinion, absolutely no bet. If it went to 3, you'd have to take the points potentially with Miami, but how could you lay it with the Browns at the moment? Next game, Saints heading to Chicago in this one. Bears off that good win in primetime minutes. Commies, they're now a 5-point favorite with a total of 47. I think they'll be a tiny bit fat and sassy. They've had 2 1-point wins in a row now. One was a blocked field goal against the Raiders at the end, and one was a game-winning field goal against Washington last week. I do lean the Saints in this one here. I don't know if they'll win, but there is a small number. They may cover but not win in this one, the Saints. I kind of like what Spencer Rattler's doing. They just sort of lost to a better team last week. I do lean the Saints in this one. I don't think the Bears should be a 5-point favorite. Next game, good one here. NFC, so not a division game at all. Eagles heading to the Vikings in this one here. Vikings are a plus 2-point dog in this one here. Total of 43.5. I do lean the Vikings in this one here. If JJ McCarthy is quarterback, I definitely do lean the Vikings here. With Wentz, probably not so much. You have to see what the injury report is looking like for the Eagles' defensive players. If Jalen Carter is playing, if Quinyon Mitchell is playing the safety there, if Landon Dickerson, the O-line, is playing in this one here. Eagles are a bit banged up. The offense is not cooking whatsoever. Off a shocking loss on Thursday Night Football. I do lean the Vikings in this one here. Next one, in the second slate, Colts at the Chargers, who are a minus 1.5-point favorite, total of 48.5. I do lean the Chargers in this one here. I do lean the over as well. I do think we'll see a tiny bit of a shootout in this game at SoFi Indoor Stadium. Both these teams play indoor. I like what both offenses are doing this one. The defenses are a tiny bit questionable. Chargers have still got no running game at the moment, and I took the unders last week with the Chargers, and that meant they sort of passed it a bit more. So do like the Chargers and Herbert to put up some points in this one here. Next game, we've got Green Bay heading to Arizona, who are a 6.5-point dog with a total of 44.5. I do lean Arizona in this one here. I just don't like what Green Bay has been doing at the moment. Was it like a month now? They've put in pretty underwhelming performances. Could be a get-right spot. Arizona have pretty much played all their games within 7 points this week. If you can get a +7, I would be taking that for sure. But I just want to see how the vibes sort of go throughout the week. I may bet Arizona later in the week. 2 games to go. Commies at Dallas. Dallas are a +2-point dog in this NFC East rivalry. Total of 54.5. Biggest of the season. One of the biggest totals I've ever seen. And it's high for a reason. Can't be high enough. Lean the over in this one here. You've got Dallas as a leading offense and the worst defense, and you've got Washington, who have got a pretty good offense for Jaden Daniels there. Looks like Terry McLaurin will be back. You've got Deebo Samuel as well. And I think Dallas is going to have to try and keep up in this one here. It could easily go in the 60s. Just don't be surprised. It's a high number for a reason. I would not be taking the under. That is very brave. And then the last one is this is the last game of the week, the other Monday Night Football game. Texans heading to Seattle, heading to the Northwest. Seattle are a 3-point favorite at home with a total of 41. Seattle have been pretty poor at home so far this season. I think they're 0-3 at home, I want to say. Sorry, they're definitely 1-2. They smashed the Saints, but they have lost to the Niners and they have lost to the Bucks. This seems like a sort of a get-right spot at home for Seattle in prime time. I get it, Texans are off the bye, but I do lean Seattle minus the 3 in this one here. So that is my rapid rundown for week 7 of the Red Zone Report. And we'll be heading on swiftly into the player props here. As you can imagine, I'm on holiday, so I don't have the most amazing amount of time. Well, I do have obviously lots of time because I am on holiday, but I do want to spend my time on holidays being on holiday. Player props for you. I do have 5 this week for you. All overs, of course. Done a little bit of research and I'll start. On Thursday Night Football, I do have a bet for this game. That is Jamar Chase, the number 1 receiver for Cincinnati, over 74.5 receiving yards. I think he was in the high 60s last week. You've got a somewhat decent quarterback now at Cincinnati, who is veteran enough to know to throw to the best receiver, one of the best in the league here. Pittsburgh on the secondary isn't the most amazing as what I've seen. In the situation as well, if Steelers are leading, Cincinnati will need to throw the ball a bit more. Just like last week, Chase, he ended up with close to 100 receiving yards last week against Green Bay. I think you could expect something similar here in this one here. Joe Flacco, he's smart enough. He's been in the league long enough to know, throw it to your best player on the field. For a best player on the field, 74.5 is too low for me. Take his overs in this one here. Second one, gonna fade the Miami rush defense, one of the worst in the league. I think DVOA-wise, they were 31st going into the Panthers game, and then Rico Dowdle ran for over 200 rush yards in that game, like 230 or something. Absolutely insane. He just absolutely cooked them on the ground. And now you've got a rookie running back who's fresh and ready to go. You've got a rookie quarterback in his 3rd game in his first home start. And they're smart enough, Browns. They should just run the ball and run the ball and run the ball and just try and get the win and get out of there. Not rely on Dylan Gabriel or Judkins, over 82.5 rushing yards in this one, especially if they are leading in this game here. Just expect them to run it down Miami's throat. If they are not watching the tape from Miami's game last week, there is something seriously wrong in the Browns' head office. Next one here, we're going to the Bears and Saints game, and that is back to the wide receiver 1 for the Bears. Rome Odunze, over 67.5 receiving yards. Saints secondary is pretty darn awful. You saw Drake May absolutely rip it up with deep balls last week. Demario Douglas, Keyshawn Boutte, absolutely ripped it up against the Saints last week, and now you've got a pretty talented receiver like Rome Odunze at 67.5. I expect Caleb Williams to pretty much take advantage of the secondary. He did it very similarly to when they played Dallas a few weeks ago. Rome went, I think he went close to over this number. He had a big, long touchdown pass. I think I'm expecting the same thing to happen. Maybe even a long reception prop is good for this one. It'll be about 23.5, my guess. Take the over in that one there. All right. And this one too as well. Amon-Ra St. Brown, over 73.5 receiving yards in this one. And it's pretty much just going by off what was seen and my best bet as well of taking the points with Detroit. I like the Bucs run defense with Vita Vea. They're pretty good at stopping the run. However, this secondary is pretty bloody concerning. Amon-Ra had a bit of a pretty quiet game last week. I think he was on 4 receiving yards at halftime. Very quiet by his standards. I'm expecting a big bounce back game from a talented guy like St. Brown in this one. 73.5 just seems way too short for me in this one here. Take his overs. I'm expecting him to get a couple touchdowns in this one here. Big game coming from Amon-Ra in this one here. And then the last prop is J.K. Dobbins to go over 59.5 rushing yards in this one here for the Denver Broncos. Game situation against the Giants. I know I like the Giants in this spot here, plus the 7. However, this Giants run defense is not strong, really. I was on Barkley last week as a prop last week. I'm not sure if that was the best bet on the show, but I was on him. He started really hot and then just sort of cooled off. But J.K. Dobbins, 59.5, with a quarterback that's not throwing the ball too well at the moment. I'm not the biggest fan. Giants are really struggling to stop the run at the moment. Game situation, Denver is leading most of the game. I expect Denver to run the ball and run the ball. He had a quiet game last week against the Jets, but I expect to have a bounce back game this week. Dobbins, over 59.5 rushing yards in this one here. All right, that is my 5 player props for you in this one here for the Red Zone Report. Now we're going to move swiftly across to my SuperCoach update for you guys. And it was a bit of a low-scoring week all round for most SuperCoaches, but I was able to have a pretty solid week once again, 2 weeks in a row. In that, I scored 481. I think I scored 582 last week, so you can see how the massive difference it is. But I still managed to go up 2.3 thousand spots to go to 4.7K. So we have jumped, it's close to 9,000 spots now in 2 weeks, which is finally good to see. I just made the one trade last week. Brock Bowers out, Jake Ferguson in. Jake Ferguson, he scored a touchdown for Dallas, was good to see. Brock Bowers still looks like he's going to be out this week. So happy with that trade for sure. I've got some trades still in the bank, which is pretty cool because I've saved a couple weeks without trades. Looking at who is getting traded out this week, and they kind of make sense. Emeka Egbuka is a top trade out at the moment. He's made a fair share of cash from a rookie, made about 10 million. He looks like he's going to be out this week. I'm not sure what the extent of it is, if he's going to be out a few weeks or that sort of thing. He's made his cash. I think he's still got a break even at like 14 or something. So still has potential to make cash in the future if you want to put him on the bench and you just like him overall. But I think by the time he comes back, you're going to have Evans and you're going to have Godwin back as well. So he'll kind of go back to that third receiver for the Bucs. So him at 14 million as a third receiver, I think there's probably better options out there. And one of the other top trader is Puka Nacua. So I traded in Puka Nacua a couple of weeks ago now. I get it. He's rolled his ankle. He's probably going to be out this week. Probably was like 2 sort of weeks for this one here. He's got a high break even as well, but if you can somehow manage it, I think he is someone that you can try and keep, in my opinion. He is so talented. As soon as he comes back, he goes straight back into that first wide receiver position. We know as soon as he's healthy, he's going to be able to put up really good numbers again. He's going to have a high break even. He might lose a tiny bit of cash. I feel like, for me, that's just what you're going to get with SuperCoach. Like, you run the risk of losing a little bit of cash, but you run the risk of him having a potential another big game when he does come back. If he's out just a couple of weeks, I think he is definitely worth the hold, in my opinion. Getting traded in, it looks like Jackson Smith, Najikba, and Patrick Mahomes are the 2 most traded in at the moment. I can understand Smith Najikba at the moment. I believe I started with him this season, and he's arguably starting to become one of the best receivers in the league. Easily top 3, in my opinion. What, he got 160 yards last week? He absolutely cooked the Jags defense last week. He's definitely a trade-in if you do not have him. He is just so worth having. He's easily the best wide receiver that Seattle have. Cooper Kupp at wide receiver number 2. If you don't have JSN, I would be highly recommending to get him in. Break-evens wise, the lowest break-evens of the week, we've got Rico Dowdle, my man, minus 44 break-even off 2 huge games on the ground. Can he keep up? You never know. Probably got Chuba Hubbard coming back pretty soon as well. Jackson Dart, minus 33 break-even quarterback for the Giants, just making his cash as a rookie. And then Kendrick Bourne, a minus 26 break-even is one off 2 good games as well. Really good to see for the 49ers. Dowdle, if you're wanting cash, then yeah, grab it. I don't know how long his points will keep up with Chuba coming back soon. Jackson Dart, he is definitely one of my trade-ins this week. Just because of sort of the circumstances I have as well. He's going to make a good amount of cash. I could be able to trade him to a pretty solid quarterback in a few weeks' time if he's not making enough cash by then. Kendrick Bourne, though, is someone I'd definitely be avoiding for sure. You've got Joanne Jennings coming back. You've got Purcell coming back soon. You've got George Kittle coming back very soon as well. It seemed like Bourne was someone that was really working well with Mac Jones, and now you've got Brock Purdy coming back. I would be really avoiding that one for sure. High break evens wise that are relevant, that really sort of kind of like not injured at the moment. Puka Nakua has got the highest 69 break even. Nice. Again, it's just not a trade out for me. I think if you can hold them on the bench, try and hold them. Josh Allen, 64 break even. He's obviously on the bye this week. Allen is good enough at any time of the season to have a game where he puts up 64 points. So there could be a potential he doesn't lose cash whatsoever. If you have got Josh Allen like I do, just try and leave him on the bench for this week with his bye. They've got the Panthers next week, and I think that looks like a big sort of revenge spot off 2 losses in a row as well. And then the next one is Jameer Gibbs. So 63 break even. That's a bit of a weird one because he obviously shares the backfield with David Montgomery a bit. Now they're coming up a pretty good run defense, but Jameer Gibbs, he can pop off at any time. So I'm not an owner of Gibbs. If you find another running back, if you don't have someone like a Bijan, I'll be getting Bijan for sure. But Gibbs, I'm not so sure. Maybe just see how he goes. He's still going to put up pretty solid numbers, I think. For me this week, I am making 2 trades. I've only boosted once so far this season. I am going to trade out Cam Ward. He was my second quarterback that I started with, or like essentially my sort of flex player. I never played in the season, so he has been my bench quarterback. I am also trading out Emike Egbuka, like I said. I just think he's made his cash. Essentially, he's going to go back to that third slot very, very soon for the Bucks. I am getting him in for Drake London, and this is a bit of an annoying one because I did start the season with Drake London. I thought he was going to have a pop-off season in his second year, and he was just a bit quiet in his first couple games with Michael Penix, and I just traded him out, which is a bit stupid. I feel like I could have traded out like a Marvin Harrison Jr. instead of something. But I traded out London. It is what it is. He is so talented. He's number one wide receiver for Atlanta, clearly. Working really well with Penix, especially after last week. 150 career high, just absolute in a TD. Just tore Buffalo apart. And then I'm getting Jackson Dart in for Cam Ward. Not too much of a cash spend for that one. Dart is going to make a whole lot more cash in the next few weeks instead of Cam Ward. I'm going to be able to trade Jackson Dart potentially in a few weeks for a pretty good quarterback as well. Maybe like a Lamar Jackson once he loses a bit of cash as well. And Ravens start getting cooking again. So my one trade last week, I said I did get Bowser and Ferguson in. Vice captaincy and captaincies. I'm captaining Mahomes. I captained him last week. I captained him the week before. He's putting up easily 60 plus for me in those games there. He's looking really good. He's the MVP favorite. I'm just going to stick with my guns and just captain Mahomes. He's his 11.5 point favorite against the Raiders this week. I expect him to throw a couple touchdowns again this week, maybe even run one in again. Vice captaincy wise, kind of leaves me in a tiny bit of a pickle because I don't really have anyone playing in the Thursday night game that's relative. And then the 3 a.m. games, I kind of don't really have anyone either. I kind of have players that are playing either at the same time or after. Like I've got CMC, I've got Bijan. I could potentially play Barkley, but he's just not playing well. So I'm just going to VC Justin Jefferson. Just see how it goes. I don't think I'll be looping at all. I don't really have that many plays I can loop this week. I think my second kicker, I've got Tyler Loop from the Ravens. He's on the bye, but my Pats kicker, he plays in the first slate. So I think I'll just be captaining Mahomes. I really can't see a good vice captain option. Maybe Jamar Chase tomorrow if you've still got him. I did trade him out a few weeks ago there. All right, Survivor time. As I said, I am not a survivor. No, it's not a survivor anymore. I took Buffalo against the Pats a couple weeks ago. I imagine easy one last week was Green Bay. Well, kind of easy, and Steelers last week. So I imagine still people, if they weren't on the Bills that week I died, that they would still be alive this week. This week, I would be probably taking the Pats against the Titans, or I'd be taking Seattle against Houston. I do like Seattle at home. I don't see them losing another game. Potentially Denver, but I am on Giants plus the points. If you haven't used Detroit, I'll be using Detroit as well for sure. any one of those sort of three teams definitely, I think, will be getting the win. I had used Detroit already this season. I'd used the Pats already, so mine would be Seattle for this week. But I am dead. But as I said, if you've been following my Survivor tips, I would be going Seattle to get the win at home. All right, and to cap off the show, we've got a couple multis for you. My multi for the week, generally, what have we got? Five legs for you. Generally pays sort of around 40 to 70 bucks a week. We have landed one already this season, which does cover the rest of the expenses for this season and also next season as well, which is exciting. 5 legs for you. We'll start off pretty much correlated to my best bets. Jamar Chase, alt receiving yards, 90 plus in this one here. Quinshon Judkins, 100 plus rush yards in this one here. Giants plus the 7. Rome Odinze to go 80 plus receiving yards, and then laser points at the Lions to finish off the multi in this one, minus 5.5. This one pays $65, $10 in this one, returns $650. And then to finish off the Red Zone Report for week 7, my 2+ touchdown Hail Mary always pays good odds. This one's a tiny bit lower odds this week. Just see how it goes. I do like these 3. Quinshon Judkins against Miami to score 2. Lad McConkey against the Chargers. He scored 1 last week, and I think he's going to pop off this game as well. And then Monday Night Football, we're on his prop as well. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I can see him having a huge game against this Bucs secondary here. Those 3 together on Bet365 pays $385. $10 in this one returns $3,850. All right, do a recap of the Red Zone Report for week 7. 5 best bets for the week. We've got the Rams and Jaguars in London under 44.5. We've got the Pats minus 6.7 against the Titans. Giants plus the 7 against Denver. We've got over 47 again for the Falcons and 49ers. And then we've got the Lions minus 5.5 against the Buccaneers, my favorite play of the season. Player props, we have got Jamar Chase to go over 74.5 receiving yards. Quinshon Judkins over 82.5 rushing yards. Rome Odunze over 67.5 receiving yards. St. Brown to go over 73.5 receiving yards. J.K. Dobbins to go over 59.5 rush yards in this one here. My multi for the week, 5 legs. Jamar Chase, 90 plus receiving yards. Quinshon Judkins, 100 plus rush yards. Giants plus the 7. Rome Odunze, 80 plus receiving yards. And the Lions minus 5.5. Pays $65. $10 returns $650. And to finish off the week, the Hail Mary 2+ touchdown, 3-leg parlay. Quinshon Judkins, Lad McConkey, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 385 to 1. $10 returns $3,850. That will do it for the Red Zone Report, Week 7, live from Seminyak in Bali. We got it done, guys, for you guys. Absolutely love this show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all the love that I got last week. Remember to like and subscribe. Give it a comment of your best bet for the week in Week 7. I'll catch you next week back in Australia. Cheers.